Hello and welcome to the Plaid Sheep Oracle. This is a pick a card for this space between eclipses, or possibly for the space between wherever you are, maybe when it finds you and calls to you. It was inspired by this card. Sitting on top of this Muse tarot deck, she's my favorite Queen of Cups. So the sense of something that is ready to emerge, something that is rising, something that maybe you're unaware of as you're just sort of walking around in your day. This first eclipse has been, it's been very intense for me personally. I haven't really wanted to do a reading, or I haven't felt centered when doing a reading. I actually did a reading for Aries, but I don't know, it felt weird and off. So instead, I am doing this pick a card for us, for anybody else who may be feeling this way, feeling an intensity. So there's 3 piles. They each have 4 oracle cards. There will be tarot, and I'm going to show you the bottom of each of the oracle decks, as they were when I finished shuffling. And then I'm going to show you the 3 choices. So we have Fly with the Dreamer, Gentle Force, Consistency, Persistence, Patience, the Long Game, Progression, and the Stag, Pride, Leadership. So the 3 choices are self-love, and it comes with this carnelian heart. I hadn't seen what this card was until this crystal chose itself for this pile. This carnelian heart. Which also, I'm minded to tell you, I found. I sort of got guided into an out-of-the-way space, and I found it. So there may be something about being guided. We have creation with the beaver moon, and the selenite palm stone. Which feels a little bit to me kind of like this, right, this fog in the card. And then we have self-reflection. With a black moonstone. All right. Pile 1. Self-love. And the carnelian heart. Seek the angel perspective. Child of the cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. Protection with Sekhmet. And birth, rebirth. Well, pile 1. I feel this pile. I wonder if it will be mine when I go back and look. You are certainly going through some intense process of birth, rebirth. And that may feel like I don't want to say that it feels like a tower moment, but that it feels very intense, that it feels maybe like something's being torn or shattered. Not in the way of, maybe your whole life, but maybe in some belief that you've had. Even if we've been kind of on this path, this project of learning about ourselves and being self-reflective, there are often still things that can remain hidden for a long time because they're so ingrained that we just think that they're us. This is a tricky thing about all that childhood stuff. A lot of it may happen, long before you're kind of forming verbal memories. What happens to you in infancy, in those first couple of years of life. Right? You don't recall it clearly. And it's like baked in, even though it isn't you. And it's something that you can release. But it may take a long time. It may take many it's like being rinsed. If you have something that you've been washing and you wash it in really a lot of soap, right? It's a very soapy water. It can take a lot of rinses to get all of the soap out. Or sometimes if something's been washed and then dried, but it hasn't been rinsed enough, when you put it back in water, soap bubbles show up. And it can take a lot of rinses if something's really in there. Right? It's like you're in another rinse cycle. The last set of eclipses came through to me as a prism. And there is that. This one is coming through more like some sort of wash cycle, like a rinse that you're, sort of being submerged in order to really, right, for the water to get into all of your fibers. And that it's important to keep, as much as you can, this angel perspective of yourself. Right? Self-love. That there's no blaming. Even if you feel like it's taken so long, I've been doing this for so long, that you don't blame yourself. It's all, right? It's all life. It's all the experience. There's beauty as well as difficulty. That's the angel perspective, that higher perspective, the one that sees you in your perfection. All right, let's see. And now I'm sort of minded to say that you might go to astro.com if you know your own birth details. You can see where Sekhmet lives in your natal chart and where she is now. I don't actually know offhand where she is now. She's a very fierce goddess. The magician. Oh, and death right below that. You know, this seems to me like, right, allowing the magician to put you through the rinse. That what is being created here by the magician is you, this rebirth of you. Oh yeah, see, 9 of Swords. The wheel. It's the rinse cycle. Page of Cups. And Strength. Right there you are with the lion. Sekhmet is the lioness. She is certainly a powerful ally. Drawing strength from her. Right? So it's difficult, it's painful. Maybe it's keeping you up at night. Maybe you're just feeling, you know, the intensity could vary. It could be that you're, you know, on your knees, sobbing. Or it could be that you're kind of lying awake at night. Or it could be that just that, you know, like the days just feel difficult. Right? You feel like you're grumpy all the time, that things are, you know, just irritating, like something scratchy on the skin or nails on a chalkboard. And then we have the rinse. It can be challenging to allow and to be open to the idea that maybe there's something you missed, or maybe there's something you've misinterpreted, or you something you just didn't realize that you've been doing or thinking, or ways that you've been interacting with the universe. There's something about your modus operandi that's actually a coping mechanism, and you really just don't realize it. Because it's been with you for so long, it's just natural. You may mistake it for how you are. And with this first half of the eclipse being on the south node, that's a real opportunity for this, you know, final rinse cycle to really, you know, anything that's left, you know, and then you come out the other side all fresh. Feeling much more optimistic and open. Believing in your dreams, believing in possibility. Not weighed down by whatever it is that's, you know, been in your fibers that has to be rinsed out. Ready for love. Maybe ready for relationships of all kinds. to change for you, maybe ready to make new friends, ready to feel new, to feel reborn. And to really feel your own strength. I think sometimes when we're in this Nine of Swords space, we can't even feel our strength or our courage or our persistence. Right? This came out in the intro. In case you didn't watch it, it's the Gentle Force card. Right? This consistency, persistence, patience, the long game. So really get, I want to say you want to get curious. Really allow your mind to open to the possibility that there's something you've missed, there's something you didn't perceive. And that's actually on both sides. One, that there's some kind of coping mechanism that you haven't perceived, and that is wanting to get itself seen and removed. But also maybe that there are strengths, that there's something creative and marvelous that wants to be seen as well, that's been hidden. Or that has been sort of underdeveloped. And then now when you go through this final rinse cycle, it can, really come into its own. Right? This magician energy. Who's under death? Oh, see? Look, under death is the Lovers. Right? This self-love, love of others, the ability to really love freely. So this may be really intense, pile one, but I think it'll be totally worth it. And don't hold yourself to some impossible standard. Don't be angry with yourself. Why didn't I do this sooner? If you've been shaking your fist at the sky and at your guides, and don't feel bad about that. It's all okay. Your soul's sources, your guides' love for you is true. They know, they've been with you. Right? They have the angel perspective. Have that for yourself. Give yourself the angel perspective. How one. I wish you the best, How one. And I wish you peace and joy and freedom. Pile 2. creation, and the selenite palm stone. Let's see. Pile 1 had some clearing. You seem to perhaps have clearing too, but in a more specific way. This feels more mental. Like maybe you've had brain fog. Let's see. Bare the earth. Hirith. Longing for home. Homesick for the stars. But actually, Hirith is a homesickness for something that has never been. Wealth. The goddess of spring. Aina? Aina? I'm not sure. A-I-N-E. Oh, and the wasp. Anger, retaliation, jealousy. You know, this seems to me that you are, I don't know, I want to say thinking small or thinking that what you really, really want can't happen. Right? Because these two are really very similar, aren't they? But this is kind of a smaller space. She's literally smaller in size. You know, it's kind of there's a little bit less detail, certainly in her, than in this card, which is more, you know, sort of photographic in quality. You know, she is also a goddess. And then in between is this longing for something that has never been. So it seems like you may have had a dream when you were a child, a set of desires about your life in some way. And I think it could be anything, where you live, the kind of profession that you have, whether or not you have children, whether or not you have, you know, something that you're growing, something that you're building. I saw this little video about how more young people in the United States are going to trade school rather than to college. And to me, this seems like a really positive thing. That for a long time we've put white collar work in offices on a pedestal. That somehow it is better. But that certainly isn't necessarily true if you're sort of you know, working in an office cubicle somewhere under fluorescent lighting, staring at a computer screen all day long. This isn't necessarily really what you would want. You know, you might really prefer to be building houses or fixing cars, right? Getting your hands in things, doing stuff physically, moving your body, really seeing the results of your work in a tangible form. Getting your hands in the dirt. So maybe there's some way where right, it's like you've gotten part of the way there, but not all of the way there. And there's something that maybe you believe you can't have it. or you just can't see with this sort of brain foggy, right? Like the moon sitting over your third eye here could be really good. That could provide an amazing imaginative moment, right? It could really open you to possibility. Or it could mist you up and cloud you up. I'm thinking actually of Neptune. You know, he's been moving through Pisces, which is this really watery space. He is at his most, you know, his energy is at its most Neptunian, its most watery and misty, and you know, I'm sort of seeing the sea serpent card staring at me now. But it can be too much. A planet moving through its home space or its home element can sometimes be too much for us. And now he's coming to the end of this run. In fact, on March 30th, he's going to slip into Aries for I think a 5-month, 6-month stint. He's in there for a while until he turns back around and goes back into Pisces for a little while. And then he re-enters Aries next February for good, for the next 14 years. So this whole eclipse space may be preparing you. And you know, this wasp is now coming through as something that's going to break you out of the fog. You know, right? You're sitting here, you're staring, you've become lost in your thoughts. You know, you're no longer imagining things, you're just wandering in the fog, you're just stuck there. And this wasp is going to come and sting you. The wasp is going to sting you. Something is going to sting you, pile 2. And it's not, you know, you're not going to swell up. You're right. It's just going to break you out. And sometimes we need that. We need like a, you know, something that's annoying, something that's maybe a little painful to break us out. I mean, it may have something to do with Neptune entering Aries. It's possible. I mean, this is the between eclipse reading, so it's also, it might come with the solar eclipse on March 29th, the day before Neptune shifts. So there may be a connection there, or, you know, the sting sort of begins on the 29th and fulfills itself on the 30th. I mean, it could be anything. Not to put ideas in your head, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe you lose your job, or maybe you don't get the promotion you were expecting, and it kind of, right, it like sort of sets you on your ass because you were sure maybe that it was going to happen, and now it didn't, and maybe that wakes you up. But there's something that's going to wake you up so that you can come into this, right, this fulfillment of the desire, that your creation can come fully into being. You know, it also feels, you know, maybe you had an idea for some sort of shop to sell things, you know, I don't know, a bookstore or a yarn shop or a jewelry store or something. And so far, all you've been doing is selling online. Maybe you've just had an Etsy store. where you sold things online. But what you really want is a physical location where you can really interact with people. You know, you can see them try on the jewelry and, you know, see how they light up when they find something they really love. You know, you can help people figure out how to, you know, knit that sweater. Whatever it is, you want this bigger, more real life, in-person kind of version. And now you're gonna, right, when the fog lifts, when the wasp stings you, there is the opportunity to go for it, to fulfill it. Ah, the migration on the bottom. Well, that certainly feels like both you and Neptune, ONC, and this home away on the bottom. What's under the migration? Oh, yeah. End of the earth. Going to the end of the earth. And below that, the Ace of Swords. So we have lesson, the mother, Five of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. Oh, yeah. You know, this actually is feeling like you've been in a childhood phase. I often say, and I repeat it to myself, nothing is wasted. You have not wasted anything. You've not wasted your life. You've not wasted time. Nothing is wasted. So this time spent in the fog, in the foggy space, it may be things that you really learned things. Maybe you really learned things with your online business. Maybe you've learned about accounting and taxes and, you know, shipping issues and all of these sort of practical logistical things that are going to stand you in good stead when you move, right? There have been some lessons as you've been carried by the moon, carried through this space. Right? It's been a time of growth. The mother has been with you. You have been learning. And now, right now, we have this Five and the Seven of Swords to right? The sting that is coming. And it seems like a sting that might be largely in the head. It may be something that comes to light for you. You know, that idea that you don't get the promotion when you thought you were going to, when you thought it was a done deal. That there's something, right, that's gonna, right, she is pissed, right, she's ready to go. I'm actually gonna, give me a fifth card for what follows. I don't want to leave you here. Two more. Oh. Three of Cups. Isn't that nice after all these swords? right? And the sense of rising, maybe the sense of, right, that the skies are clearing. I often think of the Three of Cups as a united will, that the various motivations we have inside of us come together and we can move. You know, you may have had this motivation for whatever this wealth card represents, but there was also a motivation for safety or for, you know, not attracting attention or whatever it is. And now these motivations are coming together so that you can move forward. And then we have Once Upon a Time. The new story, pile 2. The new story that you get to tell. You and your wider self writing it together. Oh, pile 2, I'm excited for you. I think you're going to do great when the fog clears. Pile 3. Self-reflection. And the Black Moonstone. Bring the exile home. Atlantis. Keep the big vision. Stay in alignment as you grow. Joy with Hathor. Mother Goddess. Oh, and double joy. Double joy, pile 4. Oh. Well, certainly coming home. You know, your pile, the first 2 piles have a more, a little bit more of a specific kind of feeling. Or, I don't know, like something, you know, a sense of something being cleared away. Whereas you feel like you're the most associated with this introductory card. Right? I see a lot of sort of kinship between these two now. That there is a recognition happening of self, of who you are, maybe of how far you've come. Of, you know, maybe your fog a little bit is that you haven't really seen yourself clearly. That you haven't seen that this that this is within you. Right? This self-reflection. And there is something to me, you know, I actually don't know offhand what the standard spiritual meaning ascribed to the Black Moonstone is. I just really love, right, I love the colors together. I love how in the polished stone there's kind of a sense of depth happening. And maybe you've been comparing yourself. Maybe you've been, you know, looking at other people's ideas about life, other people's ideas about your, I think it's bigger than your profession. I don't think it's that you're, you know, kind of a quirky architect and you've been struggling because, you know, other people are doing things another way. I think if that's true, it's only a facet. I think it's really about how you see yourself. You know, maybe you keep seeing that you need to heal something, or maybe you just don't, I don't know, you just don't see yourself clearly. You know, with this card, you know, I almost feel like she, you know, she wants, like she really wants to come home, but she thinks she's too big for the house. Right? She can't fit herself into this little house. And so she believes that she can't be home. Right? That somehow she has to fit into this little house in order to be home. But that's not the case. It's not about being in the house. You know, in this Atlantis, there's so much, you know, about Atlantis. Right? You can Google Atlantis and probably get millions of hits. You know, people who say they've had past lives and remember this, this, and this. There's that guy, Matthias De Stefano, who talks about his time in Atlantis. There's all these things, people's ideas, opinions. And I don't know, is any of it correct? Who's to know? I think, I don't know, I think you've been looking for a particular result, or, you know, your life needs to look like X. And maybe there's tick marks that need to be made. I don't know, there's just a sense of struggle and of longing. And what wants to come through here, right, is this double joy. That you're here, that coming home is within reach, that it is in the acceptance of this. And just accepting that you are home, that there is no struggle, that there's nothing you have to change or fix or fit into. There's no check marks. Right? It's just about feeling the sun on your face. That when you know you're there, you're there. Allow yourself to know. Allow yourself to accept that you have come home. That you have come home to yourself. Perhaps that you have come home to your power. Ooh. And that it may not look like other people's. You know, maybe you watch tarot readers or intuitives on YouTube, and what you do and how you experience source and, you know, how you experience these things doesn't look like anybody else's. And so maybe you think that you're wrong, that you're missing something. And I'm here to tell you that you're not. Screw everybody else's notion of what Atlantis was, of what a high priestess may be, of what a magician is. Extra card. See that? And we're going to give you the extra card. Oh, 8 of Wands. Oh, and the Tower below that. And I kind of want to say it's like she's, right, she's seen the Tower. Oh, see, and Temperance is below that. Right, it's like she's seen the Tower, and that the Tower is perhaps not what she thought. You know, maybe people have been telling her for years, right? Everybody in the village has told her that there's this weird, dangerous space in the forest. And so she's out there one day and she sees the Tower, and she doesn't feel the danger. She sees only possibility. In this, right, in this new creation, in this magical space. Ten of Pentacles. Three of Swords. Queen of Pentacles. 5 of Wands. And the Knight of Cups. Oh. You know, this is, right, this is seeing the value of difficulty. I don't know, it's humility. Right, these three cards, right? I mean, this one always, you know, feels like the Magician to me, right? With her fabulous hat. Right, creation, manifestation, love, beauty, eros. And within that, we have this Three of Swords. This, you know, this, right, this feels like humility, like vulnerability, like, you know, really laying yourself bare before Source, before the angels, before your own soul. And even before perhaps a person, right? A really close person, your partner, your best friend, some member of your family, somebody. right? Being seen all the way down to the heart. Undefended. And then here, the willingness to enter into conflict. You know, these two people, they aren't looking at each other, and you know, that one of them can look up and reach out. And this might be an internal thing. That you know, because the shadow, right, our shadow parts, those things that are difficult, the places that are painful, they don't disappear when we come to terms with them, when we allow healing to happen. They don't disappear. You know, if you have difficulties with envy, or you have difficulties with frustration, you know, if you're someone who likes to be right, that can, you know, it can kind of stick around a little bit. It doesn't disappear. But you can come to a much friendlier space where you don't need to make it disappear. It's not about making those parts disappear. It's about living in joy. Because joy can exist even in difficult times. You know, even in painful times, like sort of, you know, childbirth, right, comes up for me as an example. I have not given birth, but I know that there's a lot of challenge and pain involved. You know, and maybe fear, anxiety. But then there's also this enormous joy at the same time. So pile 3, I think your eclipse space is about accepting that you have come home. There's no other check marks. You don't have to look like anybody else's process. You don't have to, you know, your power, your vision, your ability to speak to source may not look like anybody else's. And it doesn't need to. Right? You have revealed yourself. You have opened yourself. And these two, right? There may be times when the revelation is like this. When it's when there is a painful aspect. Right? Maybe when you're on your knees. But revelation can be like this too. And you can move into this space more and more. If you've spent most of your life kind of learning from struggle, you can allow yourself to learn from joy and from love. And there's no perfection that you need seek. You don't have to fit yourself into the little house. You are home, pile 3. Just as you are. You are home. And I hope you can feel that, pile 3. And that you accept your double joy. I wish you the very, very best. And I will see you next time. So long.